Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrum, and I'm reaching out to my students. Okay, so we talked about getting a position in the IT industry. I already told you this is my plight for this year to focus on getting students on the right path in order to go into this industry and pretty much do what they want to do. But I want to give you guidance on the proper way to come into this industry. A lot of the students come to job interviews and they are truly confused on what they're actually trying to do. It may not seem like it. You may think I'm gonna walk out the door and I got this under my bag. I know what to do. I'm handling my business. But you'll be surprised the hundreds of people who go into interviews and are clueless to what we are looking for. But the funny part is, most IT managers put it out there. This is what I want in the different job descriptions. And students always ask that question that shocks me. I don't know what they're looking for. Well, we just told you what we're looking for. But anyway, so my focus, like many other organizations out there, the Googles, the Microsofts, the Ciscos, they want to make sure that when you come in with your credentials, you know exactly what we are looking for. Okay, so we want to help you get there. Now, like I said, the word IT is a generic word, so you have to really reverse engineer the particular position you want to go for. Now, how do you do that? So we talked about reverse engineering, and I showed you a couple of websites that you should have by now went and looked at and said, okay, I need to really find out what position I'm gonna go for when I graduate, or when I pass my classes, or when I get my certification, whatever it may be, or just get some type of skills to go into this industry. Now, when I sent that out, a lot of people looked at it, a lot of people responded, but the one thing that kind of shook me up is, do you really know what position you are going for? Because I hear a lot of people say, well, I'm going to security. What in security? If you take one field out of the IT industry, security, what in security? You may say, well, cybersecurity. What in cybersecurity? These are generic terms that are given to certain positions, but there are multiple layers within these terms that people fail to understand. So we want to give more clarity on what you should be doing to narrow it down. Like, for instance, just being able to talk to a person who do that job. So if you meet somebody who is actually doing cybersecurity, what do they actually do? You meet somebody working in networking. What do this person do? They just throw a term out, networking. Oh, I work in networking. And we tend to do that because we don't want to be bothered by people. So we walking around, oh, what type of job you do? I'm in networking. And you hear this term all the time, people throw out there, oh, I'm a programmer. What type of programmer? You just think you just program. So it's a lot of things that you need to know when you go in this industry. And it may seem like I'm making jokes and it's funny, but you'll be surprised how many people are clueless to what position they're going to actually do when they graduate from college, or when they get a certification, or when they get some type of credential. And if you match up what you actually do with the credential you have, it will shock you. It will actually shock you. So let's go ahead, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So you know me, I'm going to start off with the PowerPoints first. Then we're going to look at the other websites you can start adding to your arsenal. Now, if you choose not to use these tools, that's your choice. But you can never say you didn't have a professor that gave them to you. Let's go. Okay, so we started off with reverse engineering. So if you didn't watch the first video, you need to go back and watch this. This is video 2, and we're talking about the next level. So I'm not going to cover this again. You may see it on the screen, take a look at it, but we're going to move on. We had 3 phases that we had to go through: information extraction, in the process of understanding reverse engineering. Then we have modeling. That's what we're going to follow on today. And the last one will be review. So let's go to the next one, which is modeling. So modeling basically breaks down to you want to gather information on your position. But this is the important thing. When I sent you to the website, I stated you should pick a particular position. I had people making comments about, yeah, I'm going to go into cybersecurity, or I'm going to go into this, or I'm going to go into that. What specifically are you going to do? You should be able to narrow that down. So if you come to me and you say, hey, professor, I'm going to do cybersecurity, I'm going to say, what in cybersecurity? Are you going to be a red hat, a blue hat? Are you going to work on forensics? What in cybersecurity would you specifically do? So you got to gather that information, gather that data, so you can create a conceptual model, something that you can break down. This is your framework that you walk through step by step. So explain its role in a broader framework. You should be able to have that conversation with me on specifically what you're going to do, taking information unique to the original. So if you say cybersecurity, be ready for me to question that. Okay, moving right along. So this will help you start looking at the different job positions. When students come to me and they made a decision on what job to take, I always ask them, go online, look at job descriptions every week. Every time they post jobs, you should be looking at the different type of jobs out there. Why? You want to know what skills they are looking for. You want to know the qualifications, and you want to know the responsibility of these jobs. So if you say cybersecurity, my expectation is that you can specifically tell me what are the responsibility, what are the qualifications, what are the different types of skills. Now you may think you know that, but trust me when I say this, if you're not looking at job descriptions, you'll be shocked what one company wants vis-a-vis another company. Then the next thing I want you to start doing is study the landscape. Study what's out there. Keep yourself up to date with the latest cybersecurity threats. Do you know when you go into an interview, an IT manager may ask you this question, and it's shocking. Tell me, how would you solve this particular virus hack? And he'll throw out a hack that just recently happened, and you have no idea what the hack is, what was the company that got hacked, etc., etc. That shows him that you're not keeping up with the day-to-day issues that's going on out there. And they actually put it in the news. So next time you looking at TV and you hear about, if you're going into cybersecurity, you hear about an attack, and you want to learn how did they do the attack, what was the vulnerability, get information on that, because in the interview, that's how we get you. We see that you're not really interested in this field because you're not keeping up with the day-to-day issues. We want you to learn about the different technologies. Now, in my classes, you're going to learn about firewalls. You're going to learn about intrusion detection systems. You're going to learn about security management systems. You're going to learn about that. But do a deeper dive. Once you read about one of these systems, like a firewall that we consistently protect, Then we want you to do a deeper dive so you can have some information. You should be able to explain that. Learn about the technologies used in the field. Develop your skill set. Now, some people think, okay, I learned cybersecurity, but do you know Linux? Do you have any programming? Python is a powerful scripting tool. So we want you to learn about this. You got programming language, network security, forensic analysis. So these are the different things that we want you to know. So if a student come to me and say, hey, professor, what next? I just took this cybersecurity class. I say, do you know Python? Do you know Linux? A lot of people don't think that they're going to need to know Linux in the cybersecurity world. That's the biggest application that's being used out there, even though it's an operating system, but that's one of the most important tools being used. And scripting, Python teaches you how to script. Network with professionals. We have out here an industry that we have a lot of different meetups. And when we talk about meetups in the IT industry, we ain't talking about going to a bar, hanging out with somebody. We talking about meeting professionals who have discussions about the trade. So we have it in meetups, and I'm going to show you a few things in there. Attend cybersecurity conferences, join online communities, have meetups. These are things you should do now so you'll be well integrated inside of this world. Now, like I said, I'm using cybersecurity, but this applies for the networking world. This applies for the system administrator world. This applies for the Linux world. I was going to say networking, but I said that already. Okay, now getting certified. Some of you are going through classes with me, whether it be a Linux class, whether it be a network class, whether it be a cybersecurity class. Are you looking or trying to find out about the different certifications in the class? Do you know you can get a certification before you graduate and actually be working in the field? My God, for real? Yes, you can. So you need to really start looking at the certification. Don't just complete a class and don't have no credentials behind it. Because with these different credentials, and we call these certification micro credentials, with these different credentials, you can begin to do the most important thing. And what is that? Work in the field. So look at those different certifications. Get hands-on experience. Participate in online cybersecurity challenges. Now, I keep saying cybersecurity, and I know you're saying, Professor, but I'm not doing cybersecurity. Well, whatever position you are going in, start participating in it. You got capture the red flag events. Learn about all these events that you can participate. It doesn't matter if you lose. The most important thing is that you participate in it. Show your skill set. Show you what type of skills you have. So now these are the pieces that you need to know to be in whatever particular IT field you want to go for. You should not say, oh, I'm gonna go into networking. Where in networking? What will you do in networking? You should have specific information on what you will be doing. So let's take a look at some of the websites if you're going in cybersecurity. I showed you this website earlier. United States Bureau of Labor Statistics. Not going over it again, but the reason I'm bringing it back is because I'm going to choose a particular field and show you how to work that field, how to break it down in the modeling phase so you can begin to get real good research on that field. I also took you over here to Familiarize and said, hey, here's the title of the field. This is what they're looking for, but you can also see the benefits that individuals will get in that particular field, what they need to know. So we talked about that. I'm using Information Security Analyst 1 as the position. But now I also talk to you about meetups. Now, look at this, 1,623 groups out there talking about cybersecurity. You should be a part of one of those groups. You should know or be sitting with these individuals who in cybersecurity in these different groups. Remember, you're not going out to meet people on a date or anything. You learning about your industry, and wherever you live, there will be meetups, and it'll be very important people there that you want to collaborate with. Okay, so use meetups as your first resource. Now, if you want to get more experience, you can go to CTF events and learn the different hacking events around the world. So you can participate in. You can click on one of these events and join in and be a part of that hacking event. Okay, so that's one of the most important things that you want to learn. Start skilling yourself up, getting your skills really prepared. And also you want to learn about what capturing the red flag is all about. You can go to this particular website here and begin to learn about this. I want to build a community of students who will compete in these different competitions. So I'm hoping that some of you guys will like to join in with me on that. If I'm looking down, I'm looking at my other computer, so don't think I'm crazy. But I want some of you guys to actually join in so you can go out there and compete against these guys. Now, as it stands now, you have approximately 4 or 5 different websites I introduced you to. I'm going to put them in the description. Okay, now, here's the $50 billion question. We talked a couple of weeks ago about reverse engineering, and I asked your opinion, and all of you gave me some real good information. Some of it was sketchy, but it was real good. Now we in model that we had this little conversation about modeling and how to get in the IT industry. This is the $50 billion question. I want you to look at modeling and tell me which one of these, if you had a chance to start, you will start today. Research different job titles and responsibilities. Study the current cybersecurity landscape. Learn about the technologies used in the field. Develop your skills. Which one out of all these different things that you need to do to be highly successful and get a 6-figure position in this industry, which one can you tell me you will start today, and explain to me why? Don't just say, oh, well, Professor So Strong, I'll develop my skill set. Explain to me how, why, and what you can do to start developing your skill set. Do not say, well, I'm in the class, Professor, that's what I'm developing my skill set. There are other things you need to do, other things you need to know. That's your question for this discussion question. This is Professor Sistrunk. I have enjoyed this time with you. Let's move forward.